And good afternoon, everybody. Uneducated Economist here. So I get a lot of people who ask me, what do I think about the economy right now? And that's a difficult question to really answer, only because, they're looking for, when the recession is going to take place. And a recession is defined by 2 quarters of negative growth, okay? So if you basically have an announcement of a recession, it will have started 6 months ago. So you kind of have to keep an eye out on things to kind of indicate whether or not you're heading towards a recession. So I would like to thank UFO Engines, because UFO Engines posted a link that led me to the Atlanta Federal Reserve Bank, and they have a tool called GDP Now. And GDP Now will let you know what the estimated growth is this exact moment. Now, it's just an estimator, so it's not exactly perfect, but it does give you kind of an idea of where things are at. And for example, they had the end of February, I think, at 1.8, and it came in at 2.6. So, like I said, an estimator. They have March 1st. If you go and check it out right now, March 1st, they have it at 0.3, 0.3% over zero. Okay? So when you tie that in with the fact that we have all these store closures taking place, okay, so we have like JCPenney's shutting down a bunch of stores, Sears is announcing shutting down a bunch of stores, you got Victoria's Secret shutting down, Payless shoe stores shutting down, the list goes on, right? These are indicators. Now, I know a lot of people are saying, yeah, this is moving to online sales, but that doesn't matter. That's not the indicator. Store closures are the indicator, and it's taking place. What else? Oh, student loan debts are the highest delinquency, but car loans, 90-day delinquencies are now at a record level. I was reading an article on how millennials are now buyer's remorse on their house, right? And the reason is because they didn't realize how much it was going to cost to maintain a house. So when you take out a loan, most of these guys are taking out a loan for the biggest house that they can get, or the most that they can possibly get, not realizing that maintaining this big house is quite expensive. And I can totally relate, because when I bought a house in '07, it seemed like just a few months later that house was underwater. I had to put a new roof on it, I had to replace some windows, and the heating of the place was oil heat, and it was expensive as hell. I was not expecting these added expenses. And I was ready for like the taxes and insurance. I knew about that part, but I wasn't ready for the other maintenance issues that came along with the house. And I work on houses, so it's not like I had to pay to have this stuff done. I was doing the work myself. Still expensive. What else do we have going on? There's a lot of signs out there that are pointing, like luxury items. Okay, when you start seeing luxury items start to sell for an unbelievably low price, those are people who strung themselves out on debt, went and bought a bunch of fancy clothes and jewelry, and they're trying to sell that stuff off so they can stay in their car or stay in their house or whatever they got. And they're going to sell off those luxury items. And you can see, like, breweries, right? Breweries are a great example of it. Those guys are starting to shut a lot of microbrews are starting to shut down. And the reason behind it is because, like, people can't, like, afford to go off and buy these expensive beers out every night. So they're going to start, drinking beer at home, or, maybe just, like, cut back on drinking altogether. And, this is the signs that you need to look for. When you see luxury items selling, when you see like people going delinquent on their vehicles, when you see, pretty soon when the labor market, that's going to be the big one. When the labor market churns and you start seeing layoffs, that's going to be where the delinquencies really kick in and the bankruptcies start. Okay, that's going to be the big ticket item, I think, is when you see layoffs start to kick in. And it's a different time now too. Like, I was thinking about this. When I graduated high school, I had a part-time job. With that part-time job, working in high school, I was able to save up enough that I could rent an apartment before I graduated high school. Okay? So my wife, she was my girlfriend at the time, her family moved away. She wasn't about ready to leave the school, right? She wanted to graduate at the school, but her family left. So she moved into that apartment. So the two of us with part-time jobs, right, we're able to rent an apartment, graduate high school, and move out on our own, right? And like I said, my wife was already out on her own by that point for like the last 6 months. She was living in, well, no, I don't think it was that long, maybe 3 months. She was living on her own in an apartment. And yeah, I mean, I think about like people trying to do that today. Yeah, good luck with that. 2 kids with a part-time job could no way try and rent an apartment right now out there. I could not see that happening. Not at all. Okay. So yeah, there's a different time happening now. And when this next recession kicks in, it's going to be really hard. It's going to be really hard on people. And the reason is because it's gotten so big. Okay? If you were falling from a lower stance, if you were falling from, $40,000, it's not that big of a deal. But when you're falling from $440,000, it's a big deal. Or $4 million. Okay? That's a big deal. So yeah, when people ask me what do I think about the economy right now, it doesn't look good. It doesn't have this shining beacon out there in the hopes of something better. Okay, this China deal, if it was going to be as grand as everybody says it would have already happened by now. Okay, the reason why it's not happening now is because both sides are disgusted with the deal that they're getting. Okay, that's why. So yeah, we're going in for some tough times, okay? There's plenty of people out there who are saying that we're going into a recession in 2020. I wouldn't doubt that. That would put us like kind of leading into the beginning of the recession in about 3 months, right? 6 months down that, farther past that would be 2020. And, we'll be into the next recession. Anyway, that's my thoughts for the day. Enjoying some mineral water out here with you guys. Uneducated Economist. Talk to you guys later.